Hello students, this is Saloni Ranjane, faculty member in the Department of Economics, LBSM College, Jamshedpur. Today we'll be discussing Agriculture Economics, DSE Paper 2, prescribed under the syllabus of UG SEM 5. In our previous video on agricultural finance, we had discussed the meaning of agricultural finance and the credit needs of the farmers in India. In this video, we will take up the sources of agricultural finance or credit in India. In India, agricultural credit are being advanced by different sources. From the very beginning, the prime source of agricultural credit was money lenders. After independence, the government adopted institutional credit approach through various agencies like cooperatives, commercial banks, regional rural banks, etc. to provide adequate credit to farmers at a cheaper rate of interest. Sources of agricultural credit can be broadly classified under two categories. Number one, institutional sources, and number two, non-institutional sources. Institutional sources include cooperative credit societies, land development banks, commercial banks, regional rural banks, government. In non-institutional sources are included money lenders, traders and commission agents, relatives, landlords, etc. Now, let us first discuss institutional sources. The main motive of such sources is to help the farmers in raising their agricultural productivity and maximizing the income of the farmers. This type of sources are not exploitative in character. Number one, cooperative credit societies. Cooperative finance is the cheapest and best source of rural credit in India. In India, but these cooperatives have a long way to go in the states of Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa, Rajasthan, etc. In some places, the working of cooperatives have been facing problems due to dishonest members, leading to large-scale sufferings of huge number of needy farmers. Now coming to the second source, institutional sources, that is land development bank. Land development banks are advancing long-term credit for 15 to 20 years to the farmers against mortgage of the lands for its permanent improvement, purchase of agricultural implements and for repaying old debts. The amount of loans sanctioned annually by primary land development banks, that is PLDB branches, has increased from rupees 3 crore in 1950-51 to rupees 2039 crore in 1993-94. But benefits from these banks could not reach small farmers and only big landlords have benefited from it. At present, there are 19 central and 733 primary land development banks. Now the third institutional sources, that is commercial banks. In 1950-51, commercial banks in India played a marginal role, that is only 1% of the agricultural credit, in advancing rural credit. But after the nationalization of commercial banks in 1969, it started extending financial support to the farmers for both short and medium periods. Commercial banks, with the help of village adoption scheme, started to meet the credit and other requirements of the farmers. They also sponsored various regional rural banks for meeting credit needs of the small and marginal farmers and rural artisans just to save them from the clutches of the village moneylenders. The share of commercial banks in total institutional credit to agriculture was about 69% in 2006-2007. However, commercial banks are finding difficulty in advancing loans to the farmers, particularly in respect of lending techniques, security, recovery of loans, etc., and are expected to overcome these gradually. But they are not much interested to advance loans to small and marginal farmers. Next, regional rural banks. Regional rural banks were established in 1975 for supporting the commercial banks and cooperatives in supplying rural credit. Since 1975, these banks are advancing direct loans to small and marginal farmers agricultural laborers, and rural artisans, etc., for productive purposes. Till June 1996, total 196 regional rural banks have been lending nearly 1500 crores annually to the rural population, and more than 90% of these loans were advanced to the weaker sections. In 2006-2007, the share of RRBs in the total institutional credit to agriculture was about 10%. Now the role of the government in advancing rural credit. Government of India is another important source of agricultural credit. Loans advanced by the government are Takavi loans and are lent by the government during emergency or distress like famine, flood, etc. The rate of interest on such loans is also as low as 6%. The share of the government in total agricultural credit has increased from 3% in 1951-52 to 15.5% in 1961-62, but then declined to only 5% in 1996. But the Takavi loans have failed to become very popular due to official red tapeism and corruption. Now we will discuss non-institutional sources of rural credit. Number one, money lenders. From the very beginning, money lenders been, have been advancing major share of the farm credit in India. There are two classes of money lenders, the professional money lenders and the agriculturist money lender. The professional money lender is one whose main profession is money lending, and he may, however, combine his business with trading in village produce. However, the agriculturist money lender generally combines his farming with money lending. Primarily, they are interested in farming, but they carry on money lending as side business. They are mainly landowners and well-to-do agriculturists. Since the money lenders are supplying major portion of the agricultural credit, they have indulged into malpractices like manipulation of accounts and charge high rate of interest on the loans, often 24% and above. Due to these factors, the share of money lenders in the total farm credit has declined sharply from 69.7% in 1951-52 to 7% in 1995-96. Next, non-institutional sources, that is traders and commission agents. Traders and commission agents are also advancing loans to the agriculturist for producing purposes before the maturity of crops, and then force the farmers to sell their crops at very low prices and charge heavy commission. This type of loan is mostly advanced for cash crops. The share of these traders in farm credit increased gradually from 5.5% in 1951-52 to 8.8% in 1961-62 and then declined sharply to 5% in 1996. Thus, its importance has been declining in recent years. Number third, non-institutional sources, that is relatives and friends. Farmers also normally borrow funds from their own relatives in times of the crisis, both in terms of cash or kind. These loans carry low or no interest and are normally returned after harvest. Such loans are normally taken for short period to meet temporary difficulties. However, the importance of this source of farm credit is also declining as its share of agricultural credit need has already declined from 14% in 1951-52 to 3% in 1995-96. Now the next sources, that is landlords. In India, small as well as marginal farmers and tenants are also taking loans from the landlords for meeting their financial requirements. This source has been following all ill practices followed by money lenders, traders, etc. Sometimes landless workers are even forced to work as bonded laborers. The share of this source to rural credit has increased from 3.3% in 1951-52 to 10% in 1995-96. Thus, we may note here that the non-institutional sources of farm credit have been facing serious loopholes like high rates of interest, loans for unproductive purposes, non-repayment of loans, etc. However, we may conclude that the advancement of agricultural credit has reached a new dimension in recent years. Cooperative, commercials, and regional rural banks are advancing both short term, medium term, and long term credit to Indian farmers to help them to adopt modern technology and improved agricultural practices for raising crop production and productivity. That's all in this video. Thanks for watching.